Hello and welcome to Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. I'm Liz Fabian, your host for this episode. As always, we ask your questions to the mayor each month. And Mr. Mayor, this is the first Ask Mayor Miller of your new administration. So, of course, the year started off with that big bang of the implosion of the old Hilton Hotel. What's happening with that property now?
Well, I drove by there this morning, and basically they're eliminating all the other buildings that was around it, cleaning up the site and compressing the concrete and getting it ready to have a clean slate so we can look for a future building on that location.
So all of that concrete is just kind of going into the hole where the parking deck was and just kind of making a platform for new development?
Yeah, that's just the theory anyway. They designed it in such a way, they did the implosion in such a way where it collapsed into the underground parking that was there, and now they're crushing it up and doing all the guidelines they're supposed to so we can build on it and get a solid foundation.
Any of that being hauled away, or is it all just kind of being able to be compressed there on the property?
Well, all the concrete will be compressed on the property. They will be removing some of the, like some steel and some aluminum that was there that was not moved prior to that, or that might have been in the cement. So some of that will be hauled away, but for the most part, they're on schedule, getting everything cleaned up in the next 2-3 months.
All right, now you received a scathing email that you shared on social media this month, and almost some audible shockwaves, I'll call them, in the public comments after that first commission meeting where Seth Clark proposed the resolution to the state legislature to consider a third mayoral term to make it even with the county commission that is able to serve 3 4-year terms. Were you surprised by that backlash, and how does the proposal stand at the legislature?
Well, I don't think it's much of a backlash. What you have is a certain group that's never been on the Lester Miller train. So I think that you have a few people in the that are very vocal, show up and make some very crude comments for the most part. And something I wouldn't advise to do at a public meeting, because it incites people to and emboldens people to do emails like the one that was sent to me. Very hate speech in some occasions there, and it basically just gives people the power to say that think they can say what they want to. And you know, we live in America, and it's a place that you can have free speech, but at some point in time that crosses the line. And the reason I put that out there is because I think that we have to be very cautious about inciting those types of actions.
Now, one of your first big initiatives of this newest administration will be getting the SPLOST renewed for 2025. Another $450 million to be collected over 10 years if the voters approve. So what are you hoping to achieve with that project?
Well, continuity about what we're doing already. I think a lot of people may not realize this is a 1 penny renewal. But if you just take that amount of money that we're asking for over the next 10 years and you're trying to equate that to what you're paying in taxes, to replace those funds, if you didn't want to do the 1 penny, you'd have to raise the millage rate 7.5 mills per year to meet those same goals. This is the way we buy our fire trucks. This is the way we pay for our police cars, our sheriff cars, technology. This is the way we do economic development. We take care of our parks. But more importantly this time, it's the way we're going to pave the roads in Macon-Bibb County, and it will not happen without a 1 penny renewal. Simply can't happen without raising taxes by a significant amount. So this is a fair way to do that, especially when 71% of the funds come from outside Bibb County to help pay for that 1 penny.
Now, the Macon Water Authority has requested some $72 million for stormwater enhancement and to repair the levee at Central City Park, Carolyn Creighton Park. Do you think that that's a possibility?
Well, certainly Macon Water Authority is a valuable partner of ours, and we can consider things that they request. As you recall, prior to our administration, Macon Water Authority entered into a contract with Macon-Bibb County, and part of that contract calls for them to repair the levee and for them to collect stormwater fees and take care of all those things. So you can't contract that away in exchange for not getting a franchise fees tax and then turn around and ask us to kind of pay for everything. But having said that, certainly we have some concerns ourselves about the levee. We'll be getting all the documentation from Ron Shipman and the director of the Macon Water Authority, speaking with the Army Corps of Engineers to make sure in the event that the SPLOST pass that we can allocate certain funds to make sure that we're all protected in the area downtown that has the most concern.
Now, you mentioned the roads. That's the lion's share, or what you're most motivated about, I think, in the SPLOST, the upcoming
Right.
SPLOST. But the policy or the procedure that you're going about, you have a new company. You know, the last time y'all scanned the roads and checked which were the good ones and which were the bad ones, it was a scale of 1 to 5.
Right.
Now you have a scale of 1 to 100, and a lot of the roads are concentrated in certain areas, so it may not be like an equitable distribution of, like, there may not be roads, a lot of roads paved in every county commission districts. So can you explain how that's going to happen?
Well, I think it is equitable, maybe not equal, because you got to go where the roads are damaged at. But I think there's enough to go around for the whole community. We have about 1,200 miles of roads. We're going to get that scan results back in the next probably 60 days. We'll have that in. We'll be able to evaluate the roads that are mostly traveled and also the ones that's in most disrepair, and immediately start working on getting those things paid. We did a double LMIG this last year thanks to the money that the governor gave us, and partially because of the advocacy for McMurray there at GDOT because of the new truck weights, and that bill is still navigating through this year for renewal. So we did get some additional funds there. We're going to continue to pave roads, but we have many decades to make up in a short period of time to do it in, because people pretty much had their fill or not fill of the potholes in the roads. So that's going to be a great priority for this SPLOST, but it is the only way these roads are going to get paved.
And the mayor pointed out the LMIG, which is a local maintenance improvement grant that comes through the state for our roads. One thing people also have to understand too is you want to pave all the roads, but not the state roads, because those belong to GDOT, and so there's a lot of roads that are state roads in Macon-Bibb, so people may not understand, hey, why aren't you paving Pionono's potholes or Vineville or whatever? Can you explain?
Yeah, we have certain roads that we're responsible for and certain that the state is responsible for. One good thing is through our GIS mapping that we had here recently, we're having all the state roads separated so people can see which roads are the state roads and which roads are local responsibility. And we can see ourselves too, because even within our office, we debate whether or not that's our road or someone else's road and whether we can pave that or not. And it's not just roads, it's also bridges and sidewalks. We've done some great sidewalk recently, and of course with our protection and safety issues, we want to make sure we have a good place for people to walk around, not grassy places that are overgrown. So a lot of that's going to be all in that same bucket of money that we hope to get from the 1 penny sales tax.
And of course MLK is a state road, and there's been a lot of talk about trying to move the trucks off of that. Have you made any progress?
Well, progress is one of those things that's hard to define. I think if you had just a bucket loads of money, perhaps you can be responsible for that whole road and negotiate something with the state. But right now, a lot of businesses out on that connector need that lumber coming through there, and it costs them a lot of money to redirect that. Plus, you've got the problem of getting on the interstate too with these large trucks. So a lot of that's yet to be determined. But we're still working through the process, and hopefully we can do a resolution on that.
I know you have a big, long to-do list, but it takes a while for the SPLOST money to come in. Are you considering like going for bonds in the interim? How will that work?
So in the ballot language itself that was approved by all the commissioners is the opportunity to go ahead and borrow $100 million up front. It's done every single time. It's just based on collections. That money's paid back out of the SPLOST collections, so there's no incurment to debt for the property tax owners. So it just allows us to go ahead and kind of front some of the projects, to go ahead and start beginning on those projects and pay it back out of the SPLOST. So we can do up to $100 million pursuant to the ballot language.
Now you see, it seems like $100 million is a lot. Are people concerned that we're doing too much?
I hope not. I mean, we got a lot to do, but this is also a 10-year SPLOST. If you recall, the previous SPLOST only lasted about 6 years, which means it comes back up for a vote too often, and you can't complete the projects that you have that need to get done. So we decided to do big buckets this time to allow us a fluid opportunity to do all the projects we can do and prioritize some things, so that's what we'll be doing.
All right, well, when we come back, we'll talk more about economic development and downtown Macon when we come back. Welcome back to Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. We have a question from Timothy Brown. He believes there needs to be upgrades at the Macon Coliseum with big HD screens, better acoustics, and capacity for up to like 20,000 people to draw A-list performers. We were just talking about SPLOST, so your thoughts on that?
Well, Tim, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The building itself is outdated, antiquated, to use those terms. I don't know if a rehab will do or rebuild may be a possibility, but that's an option that's provided in the SPLOST if we should choose to do a new Coliseum. We have to make sure that building stays where it's at, even if you build a new one, because you don't want to have a disruption to lose some events that we have. I'm not sure about 20,000 capacity, but certainly a new capacity would help out. We want to kind of differentiate that from the area that we have at the amphitheater now. It's doing really well. But for sporting events, for other concerts, the acoustics are not necessarily the best there. So it definitely needs an overhaul, and it's something we're already considering, and we've already started looking at some potential designs. So all that is in the equation. You can't have a great tourism attraction in Macon-Bibb County without having a fabulous Coliseum, so that's something that's certainly on the horizon.
Well, Timothy also wants you to ditch the county offices at Macon Mall. He wants more shops out there. So how do we stand on bringing in new businesses?
Well, we're not going to ditch the Macon Mall as far as the businesses, but to attract those businesses, you got to have foot traffic, and one way to have foot traffic is to have a lot of people going out there to vote, a lot of people going to the planning and zoning meetings to get their business license and permits, to go to the library, go to the court rooms over there that we've been using recently. So I think those are ways to attract people. He has to understand that since Amazon and those types of online, you're never going to have those stores that you used to have before. It's just not going to happen. We do have some interest in putting some stores there. We got some more restaurants on the horizon there, possibly a new hotel coming there. I think the more foot traffic you got in the area, the more activities that you have in the area, the more entertainment you have in the area, you're going to attract some more retail. But people are simply not going to the stores and buy things these days, and you can't force it to happen because you'll lose some money doing that. So we're just going to continue to watch the areas that we want to and get our specialty that we've developed over in that market.
And speaking of foot traffic, Regina Smith of 587 Cuisine at 344 2nd Street wants someone of authority to help them survive and thrive by donating to their business or helping with advertising. What advice can you offer this soul food restaurant that has had its ups and downs since opening since in the fall?
Well, I hear they're doing really well. People are satisfied with the food product you have there. But you got to understand, if you're going to get into business, you got to have a marketing plan, a business plan, so you don't decide to do that after you get into business. That's why a lot of businesses fail, because you got to be capitalized, you got to make sure you have that good plan. I would tell them to lean on Newtown, lean on their marketing that they have and all the classes that they teach to do that. Social media is the bomb these days, so get on the social media, spread the word around. I think word of mouth is the best way to go, but certainly I think that they got a good product there, a good location there, and I think it just takes getting the word out.
And it's right down from the courthouse, which is one of the big items on the 2018 SPLOST. I understand a design firm is working on ways to secure the entrance and exit of the prisoners and secure the judges and the courtroom staff. What else is on the horizon there?
Well, the courthouse, we're checking that glass box. I think that's to probably move the entrance to the Mulberry Street side, to have a nice atrium there, to have separate security there. We can have the inmates come in places that judges can roam freely without worrying about security measures there. So we got a pretty big renovation coming, and it'll probably be something we discuss at our commission meeting in the next several months. But we're going to go ahead and finish that box. We did the Juvenile Justice Center, we've done some parking, we've done the mall courtroom, so we were required to look for other opportunities, and we've done that out of the SPLOST dollars. And certainly there was never intention to build a brand new courthouse there with only about $30 or $40 million. Those things are very expensive, and you're probably, if you had to build a new courthouse, it'd be $3 or $400 million.
That new courtroom is now in use, and the judge likes it apparently.
Right.
There was discussion at the last Board of Elections meeting that is not a viable option anymore for them to move the handicapped and elderly voting there. So do you have any thoughts on what could be done?
Well, I think you still can use it there. There's just some new furniture that came in around that time, and they were using the courtrooms. But once you have a master schedule, it's not going to be hard to work with. I think for the upcoming SPLOST vote, they'll be using the library there, which was part of the plan the entire time, is to have the library room that they have there access for your senior and disabled, which is right off the curve there. Not a inconvenience at all, and it'd be very welcoming. I think people love to go to the library, and it's a great spot to have it. And if the courtroom's in use, the library is an option within a few feet.
I think they're worried the library is too small, but I'm sure that they will figure that out before the next big election. And now there's going to be some leftover money from the 2018 SPLOST as they finish the buckets. Like, they have a list, like say the courthouse, I think, had like $40 million. If you don't use that, there's going to be money that's going to be consolidated. Or what are the spending priorities, if there are any of that kind of surplus?
Debt. I think that if you do have funds remaining in that particular bucket, there's no other project that needs money in that bucket. Like if it's cultural, or if it's recreation, or if it's infrastructure, those types of things. But they didn't allocate enough money for debt. We've inherited a lot of debt from previous administrations for projects that they did that's just now coming due. So one way to take care of that is through debt. That debt was one of the allocations from the previous SPLOST. So any excess funds that are saved or not utilized in a particular can be sent for something in that same bucket, or to be used for paying off debt, which helps the general fund for all of our property tax holders.
Our CCJ partner Nicole Bailey-Coven wants to know, do you anticipate any delays in federal infrastructure projects? She saw a report on NPR that said that there have been some legal challenges and potential issues as they compound contracts.
I don't anticipate any delays. I know we had some federal programs that we got messages from the White House this morning on that people are concerned about, including our school systems and their title money that they get. It's just till February the 10th, they're looking at all the programs. So all of our federal funded or grant programs we have, they're going to take a review of those. So it may be some short delays on that. But on contracts, I don't see anything. This happens in the new administration all the time. And certainly the more we have media information about it, it kind of creates a scare out there. So I think we're good. Business as usual, and I don't see any problems at all.
Joshua Benfield wants to know when the Bibb County Sheriff's Office will get adequate pay raises to match the agencies such as Monroe and Houston. He says Bibb is hiring a ton of part-time deputies, but very few full-time.
We're hiring full-time employees, but if you look at the current business market, nobody wants to work full-time anymore. You have to hire part-time folks. These part-time folks are people with experience that don't have to go through their training and things like that again. It's very expensive and it takes a long time to get there. Our pay is commensurate with anybody around. I would disagree with anybody that says it's not. When we hire several hundred people and somebody has to hire one or two people, obviously you can pay them a few $1,000s more. But what you have to look at too is a lot of our officers just got a $5,500 check. You don't see that when you do an open records request and ask how much an officer makes. You don't see that $5,500 they get plus their benefits they get towards their retirement for that incentive pay to continue to work there as far as tenure to Macon-Bibb County. Some of those $3,500, $4,500, $5,500. You don't see the $1,500 Christmas bonus you get there. You don't see the overtime that you get there. They also use our vehicles to go work part-time jobs all the time. They get free gas, free automobile uses. We pay for the tires, the equipment, the bullets, and those guns. That's a lot of things that's kind of benefits that you don't really see. We have given raises almost every year since I've been here. And prices keep going up, but we're going to have to work on those response times, get a better response time, a better product before we continue to just keep pouring money in there.
Of course, you've gotten millions of dollars in revenue from the school zone, speed zone cameras to go into public safety, but Representative Dale Washburn wants to change that law or scale it way, way back. What have you heard from the legislature about that?
I was at the Capitol yesterday. There's a lot of conversation about it. I know there's a lot of people signed off on that. The bottom line is whatever the state decides, this is their law, right? We're just following their law. We're doing it exactly like they said it needs to be done. There's probably some tweaks, even if the state doesn't do it, I'm probably going to do it here in Macon-Bibb County. I think there's some tweaks that need to happen to the system. It's a very small part of our budget. The millions of dollars you're talking about is since inception. That's about 3 years now. And it's a very small part of a $250 million bucket. But all of it goes to public safety. We don't own the equipment, so certainly there has to be a charge for that. But whatever they do in the state, we'll support that. We follow the law like everybody else, and we're just ready to get back to work.
You were floating out on Facebook asking people which street traffic cameras and intersections are the most violated in terms of people running red lights. Are you considering cameras for intersections?
Well, I think we've been asked by a lot of people to do that. Of course, they ask for the speed zone cameras too, and then when they get them, they may not want them because they get a ticket. But I think really that was to kind of look at the areas that were more dangerous in case we were to do some studies there, but also to let the sheriff know this many people said this is the intersection where people run red lights. You need to have an officer there. We want more police presence. One way to do that is to kind of put your resources where the problems are. So we had a lot of similarities there. There's all over the place, but a lot of similarities there on which red lights being run. I think the sheriff should take note of that and have deputies in the area willing to give tickets and protect lives.
All right, well, stick with us because when we come back, we'll talk more about pedestrian safety improvements and other issues with our roads. Stay with us. Thank you for sticking with us for this Ask Mayor Miller edition. Mr. Mayor, after the fatal crash with a train at the Rivoli train crossing there, you closed down that intersection for a little while just to kind of investigate, see how things were going. What have y'all learned about what might be able to be done to make that area safer?
Well, as I mentioned last time, that's something that falls in a preview that I can't discuss.
Okay.
Anytime you have potential litigation, all I can say is we gather certain information. We're going to use it to the betterment of our community. We open it back up, and I think, assuming how this next SPLOST goes, you'll probably see a project in that area to help improve the safety as we work through the railroad and our GDOT and our local traffic engineers. So certainly anytime you have a death of that magnitude and some other near misses too, not just one but many, you have to take a breath, take a look at it, and take the steps necessary to protect lives. And sometimes it's personal accountability of the person involved, and you have to look at that as well. But I think we did what we needed to do, and now we're moving forth accordingly. And I think the people can see a little difference there so far on the changes we did make. And I think at the next splosh, you'll probably see some projects in that area that may help improve the safety there as well.
Well, Jim Beal asked that now that the new bridges are coming for Tucker and Bass Roads, will they have safe crossings for pedestrians and cyclists, like a solid barrier between the vehicles and such a lane?
Well, those are GDOT responsibilities, and they're their bridges, so he'll need to talk to them about that. Most of the new bridges are wide enough that you can allow a pedestrian to walk through as well as bicycles there. So I'm not sure those particular bridges there, if they've got how much clearance they have, but certainly they're supposed to have pedestrian walk through there. I don't think there's sidewalks in that area, so I don't think you have a lot of walkers walking on those roads. But I know the bridges downtown that they did over the interstate certainly have enough space there for people to do bike as well as walk. So I think that's kind of the new deal.
And Jim was wondering whether about the trail that's on Tucker would be continued too, but that sounds like another issue.
Right.
Has there been a pause in blight demolitions recently? No? Y'all are moving forward? What's going on with the
We're
blight
moving
project?
forward, but what we talked about before is that we wanted to get rid of the most dangerous ones first. We're just not counting them right now because we're working on rebuilding. We've hired a new director at the Affordable Housing Fund. We're anxiously getting some of that money into play now. We've got a couple of projects out there, and we've got some training seminars coming up, and we got some investors that want to invest in the housing to infill. So that's what we talked about all along. It wasn't about just tearing down, it's about building up. So we continue to run the ticker tape, and we'll have an update on that soon. But right now we're focused on trying to rebuild in those areas and lay the foundation and get Land Bank Authority involved to make sure that we can build some houses in the area. And we're also been looking at planning and zoning. They're going through their new processes on how they're going to do things, and want to make sure we kind of all work cohesively together.
Mitzi Holstein is a retiree from New York City who moved here a few years ago. She says she's seen a lot of progress, but she's struggling with her HOA. She says that they lost street lights due to the non-payment from the agency, not paying the power bill for that, and that there's been construction in the area and they kick up dust and people aren't cleaning their houses. So what advice would you have for somebody who is having issues with an HOA or a neighborhood?
Like I always say, consult an attorney. There's a lot of attorneys in Macon that handle.
Yeah, you're not going to give free legal advice, are you?
they handle the HOAs all the time, and certainly they have a process and procedure for that. So I'd say get involved. Let your voice be heard. May have to contact a lawyer to see if there's anything you can do about those situations, and try to hold people accountable as you can.
And I know Lake Topolosofsky campgrounds have gotten an upgrade. They can fit the big RVs now, and they're going to be paving out there. So what is next in the overall plan with that proposal for the glamping and such?
We'll have public engagement coming up in February, I believe, and we'll have a time for people to kind of learn a little bit more about the project, the possibilities there, ask some questions, give some input before we go forth with the project. So the company that entered it before will be conducting the public engagement. We'll probably have it there at Topolosofsky, so people can look out to be notified of that through the hub and through our social media, and show up if they need to.
But they're going to be seeing roads paved out there soon.
Oh, no doubt. The roads will be paved for sure, and of course we've got internal work going there on the campsites and things of that. But the proposal we talked about before, coming for the duck ponds as well as Sandy Beach, will be done in an open environment, probably there at Topolosofsky.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for joining us, and thank you for sending in your questions. Remember, mercerccj@gmail.com, and we'll ask your questions next month.